What's going on, everybody? Chris Mabry here, and welcome to another edition of the Diehard Football Podcast, the podcast for all diehard football fans. We are on the All Sports All Play Network Facebook pages and Twitter, as well as Twitch and YouTube. The Diehard Football Podcast is also on YouTube. So please check that out. Today we have a interesting show to cover. We're going to talk about the new expansion or expanded NFL regular season, how would that impact your viewing for the 2021 season and beyond. We're also going to look at the what I'm creating a mock draft. So we're going to see how that goes, as well as we're going to look at the movement in the NFC East throughout the offseason with free agency and what could happen in the 2021 NFL draft as well as this season. And then we're going to see if Patriots head coach Bill Belichick is really on the hot seat. Talk about that later on in the show. But first, we're going to look at that expanded schedule. Now, for the past 44 years, I believe it is. Yeah, 44 years. Back in 1990, or 1990, sorry, 1977 was the last time the NFL had a schedule change. And some of those seasons had the, teams playing 12 games, sometimes playing 4 games. Hey, Brandon, how you doing? So they had some seasons had 12 games, some had 14 games. I mean, and that was either due to maybe strikes in the NFL. They had a few of those, 9/11, and a few other events that impacted the regular season. Well, now after 44 years of a 16 game regular season, they have now bumped it up to 17. So starting in 2021, which is this regular season, it will expand to a 16 game, or expanded from a 16 to a 17 game regular season. Basically, what they're going to do is take away a preseason game and put it in the end. I mean, it may not be at the end, but they're adding the game. They're adding the 17th game. So they're taking away a preseason game. So instead of 4 of those, there are going to be 3. And this does not include the Hall of Fame game, which is played every year. So normally, if you're playing in the Hall of Fame game, you would get 5 preseason games. Now, if you want to include that, that's going to bring it down to 4. And I believe the Cowboys and the Steelers, if I do remember that correctly, they were supposed to play in that Hall of Fame game last year, but they couldn't because of COVID. I understand that. They're going to expand the Hall of Fame class this year to include everybody from this year and last year. And those 2 teams will be playing in the Hall of Fame game this coming August. As far as the structure of how this schedule is going to go, each team will continue to play 8 games at home and 8 games on the road. So, kind of like normal. But that 17th game is going to be alternated between the NFC and the AFC. So AFC is going to be the home team for this coming round of 17th of the 17th home game, while the NFC will get it next year. And the Super Bowl, which was originally going to be played on the 6th of February, is now moved to the 13th of February 2021. So that's going to be an interesting look at it. Brandon says the 17th game gives players another game to break records. Yeah, I agree with that. So how will the record be blocked, and if or locked, or I'm sorry, looked at, and if and when they are broke? I mean, I don't think adding an extra game will do much for records. I mean, records will be broke no matter what. Whichever Whoever has like the most passing yards, rushing yards, whatever the stat may be, they'll be the first players to do so in a 17 game regular season. Because during the 16 game era, I guess you would say, they've had records, broke for the most rushing yards, the most passing yards in a season. I mean, between Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, in during those 16 game regular season, um, they were broken, by those players. Now, whoever gets, those records this year will be the first people to do that in the 17 game era. Do you think here's a question. Do you think that the overall standing records, like win-loss records, what do you think they would be, this season? I mean, there's not gonna be, like I heard the other day, there's not gonna be any, um, even records like 8-8, 9, 7-9. No one's gonna be above 500 anymore because of this uneven, record of 17 games. I think they should have went to an 18 game regular season, because then it can be 9-9, 8, 8, whatever the record might be, even wise. And I feel like this year there's gonna be a lot of uh, tiebreaker scenarios that are gonna come into play when it's time for the playoffs to to come into focus. What do you guys think about that? Because that's going to be an interesting scenario going on this year. That's my thinking on that. Because I mean, it was harder. It was easier with 14 games and 12 games. Those games were even. Now you're looking at 17 games, in both, or not both. all of the teams are going to come out with, or not come out, but continue to have a bye week, just one bye week uh, in that season. I think they should have had 18 games with 2 byes. I've seen other leagues do that, and it's worked with them. It comes out evenly as far as, records concerned, but I'm not sure about the 17 game schedule. It just seems uneven. Um, what is my take on cheese sandwiches? Hmm. I like cheese sandwiches. I was in out there comment, but I do like cheese sandwiches. Yeah. Um, I also like Philly cheesesteaks. I guess that's a cheese sandwich kind of thing. But no, that's my take on 17 game regular season. Now we're gonna move on to another topic. Let's look at the NFC. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's look at the off season for the, I guess you'd say, depleted NFC East regular season in that, or yeah, NFC regular season, because it was not a good year for that division. Most people call that one of the best divisions in football next to the AFC North. Last year didn't show any promises. Um and I was hoping it would be a good season as far as the division goes, but it was horrible. It was pretty bad. Uh, we're gonna start. We're gonna start since I am in Dallas. We're gonna take a look at the 6-10 Dallas Cowboys. They're holding the 10th position in the in the NFL draft. I'm doing this based on alphabetical order. Um, so Dallas was 6-10 last year. Dak Prescott went down with a brutal injury that ended his season after 5 games. He is doing better, and as far as better goes, I mean, he has a brand new contract. He has a 4-year contract, $160 million, I believe it is the second highest contract, I believe, next to Patrick Mahomes. But he overall, as far as a Dallas Cowboys player, he is one of he is the highest paid quarterback. I was going to say one of the highest paid players on the Cowboys, but realistically, he's one of the um he is the highest player on the Cowboys. Um, Now, do I agree with that? I think so. I mean, he's even the whole contract with Dak makes him not only the highest, but when Jerry Jones uh, was buying the team back in 88, 89, I can't remember. He he paid less than what he paid Dak. And it showed that not only is Dak Prescott the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, but he's the guy. He's the number one option. And I agree with that. I mean, he he has the best chance for getting the Cowboys to a Super Bowl. That's just my thought. Only because you had players like Andy Dalton, um, Ben DiNucci, and Garrett Gilbert filling in for Prescott when he went down with that injury. Now, DiNucci's a rookie. He played well as a backup, or not a backup, but a temporary starter. Um, he needs a lot of work done. Andy Dalton's a good backup. He's one of those that you might need in case of emergency. Now he's in Chicago, not being the starting quarterback or the backup quarterback, but now he's a starter for the Bears as the Bears uh, left. They took away or they let go Trubisky and got a hold of Andy Dalton. Nothing on Andy Dalton. I just think he's a better backup considering he's an older player. Um, do I like or hate Tom Brady? Let's see. I don't mind Tom Brady. I feel like he's done a lot to. I mean, there's no denying that Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I didn't say the best quarterback. I said he's one of the best because you can argue Favre, you can argue Brady, Peyton, Eli Manning, and you can probably throw in maybe Patrick Mahomes if you want to go modern day quarterbacks. I mean, yeah, Brady is a modern day quarterback, but he has nothing to prove now besides proving maybe himself that he can play to a certain age. But as far as NFL scouts, NFL, personnel, and even current and former players he has helped, he has nothing to prove anymore. Yeah, he had 6 rings with New England. He had he won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. Not only did he win a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, he won it in his first year coming out of free agency, going from one team to another. I believe Peyton had to not wait, but he didn't get to a Super Bowl until like 3-4 years into his time in Denver. And when he was drafted to the Colts, even then he had to wait before taking his team to a Super Bowl, 1 or 2 Super Bowls. So going from one team to another and then winning a Super Bowl um, right off, it's an incredible thing to do. But it, the other side kind of says he's done some things to get him where he is, and when I mean that, I mean going, alternating the game a little bit. And you can say that was the Patriots doing on that one. I don't know if he was involved with that or not, but during his time in New England, they kind of did some shady stuff. And whether he wasn't in on that or not, he was still part of that team. And I don't know. I mean, I don't hate Tom Brady. I just think he did some things to, I guess, skew the results. And there's videos on that, and I won't get into that, but I don't mind Tom Brady. Um, but on the Cowboys NFC East discussion, Blake Bell, he's, speaking of Kansas City earlier, he is now a Chief. We talked about Andy Dalton, who is now the starting quarterback in Chicago, and we have Dak Prescott. He signs a 4-year contract worth about 160 million, give or take a few, and they hold the 10th overall pick in the NFL draft, which I'm gonna go with. Sorry about that. Pai Pai Kiwiti. I'm not sure how you say that. Payekwity, who is an edge from Michigan. That's who I think the Cowboys will be picking. Um, let's see here. We're gonna now go to the New York Football Giants, who hold the 11th pick in this year's draft. And we'll get to them in a minute. They didn't have a good season either, as far as NFL goes. I believe they had. Let me see here. I keep losing my standings. Hold on. I think they're at the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. They were in the bottom of the barrel. There we go. No, actually, they're in second place, 6-10. They're in second place. Cowboys were in third place, both with the same record. Giants hold the 7th spot in this year's draft. Projected to take Kyle Pitts, the tight end, out of Florida. Tight end after Florida, or out of Florida, excuse me. And a lot of people are saying Kyle Pitts is going to go to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not sure. Mock drafts are hard to tell. But as far as this year, um, as far as key free agents go, they've let go a lot of players, but the one noticeable uh signing, I guess you would say, comes from Nate Solder, who resigns with the New York Giants. That is the one I guess key signing for them. Now we're gonna go to the Eagles, who had some movement a few days ago. See if I can't find that. Where they had, I think it was the 3rd overall pick, but I am double checking on that. Um, they traded a pick to the 49ers, and then the Chief got another pick. Let's see. They traded away the 6th overall pick. That's right. Okay. So boo boo boo. So they had the 6th overall pick. They traded the number 12 pick. The 49ers and the Eagles traded away those picks. And I think the 49ers went on the phone and traded the 18th pick. These are not updated when I was doing the mock draft, so sorry for that. But either way, Eagles are going to take Devontae Smith, the Alabama wide receiver. That's who I think they're going to take in this year's NFL draft. Um, as far as their movement in free agency, Travis Kelce resigns with the Philadelphia Eagles. As you know, Los Angeles Rams got two key free agent players that were once on the Philadelphia Eagles in um in the past few years. Carson Wentz goes to Los Angeles to sign with the Rams, and joining him is Deshaun Jackson, who's also signed with the Los Angeles Rams. As for Cameron Jordan, he signs down here in Texas, going to the Houston Texans for the 2021 season and potentially for a while. Um, that's what's going on in Philadelphia. And, there's a lot of things going on in the NFL. As far as that goes. Now we're going to move on to the final team, looking at the NFL or the offseason for the NFC East, heading into draft month. This month is the draft. We're going to look at the Washington football team. Not a lot of movement or big movement going on. Alex Smith was released, or or should I say, was asked to be released by the Washington football team this year. He had a remarkable NFL career, and especially for the football team, winning comeback player of the year in the NFL honors ceremony. Let's see, Taylor Heineke has resigned with Washington, and Kyle Allen also resigned with the Washington football team. So that is the movement going on in the nation's capital. Uh, Washington finished on top, winning the division and making the playoffs. The only team in the NFC East to do that, going 7-9 last year. No one thought, because of this cruddy division, that Washington was going to be the one winning. It was between Dallas and Philadelphia, but then Philadelphia blew it, and as they say, the rest is history. Um, but also they say too, and it's true. Somebody has to win, and somebody was the Washington football team with a 7-9 record. And who knows what's going to happen this year with this new schedule format. Who knows what it's going to take to get in the playoffs. Now here comes a burning no, I'm sorry. I'm going to reveal the rest of my mock draft. No big surprise, Jacksonville gets Trevor Lawrence. Number 2 is Zach Wilson. Both of them are quarterbacks. Now there is rumors that um I'm sorry, I keep hearing something. Excuse me for that. That there's talks of the draft going quarterback, 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 quarterback for the first 4 picks of the draft on night 1. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening. After Zach Wilson, the Dolphins or whoever gets that 3rd spot, I can't remember at the top of my head right now. Jameer Chase, I believe it is. LSU's wide receiver is going to come at the 3rd pick. At number 4, don't expect Matt Ryan to be a Falcon because they're going to take Justin Fields to, I think, to be the starting quarterback. Running at the top 5, Penei Sewell, an offensive tackle from Oregon, is going to go in that spot. We talked about Devontae Smith potentially, maybe, going at number 6. Jalen Waddle going at number 7, the wide receiver from Alabama. Number 8, Micah Parsons, the linebacker from Penn State. Number 9, going cornerback from Alabama, Patrick Surtain. And at number 10, we talked about uh, Paye, I don't know, the edge from Michigan. That's my top 10 um, NFL draft, mock draft. If you enjoy that, I don't mind doing more of that. Um, but that's just what I see heading into the 2021 NFL draft, which is in Cleveland, Ohio this year. Last year, it was supposed to be in Vegas to, I guess, help kick off the Raiders' move to Nevada. But like always, COVID had to ruin it. Luckily, we're getting out of that. So hopefully this year, things will, and it's looking good so far, things will pick up in a matter of months. Now, let's get to that burning question. Is Patriots head coach Bill Belichick on the hot seat? Let's give you a little backstory of why I think the answer to that is yes. Tom Brady was drafted in 2000. From 2000 to 2019, Tom Brady was the quarterback for those New England Patriots, and he's won 6 Super Bowls, been to 10 of them as a Patriot. That's a 6-4 record in the biggest game of professional football, known as the NFL. Then, when free agency hit last year, he decided to take his talents to Tampa Bay and sign with the Buccaneers, who won a Super Bowl back when I guess when Tampa Bay, or after a year later, won their Super Bowl. Now he's in Tampa Bay trying to get the franchise to win their 2nd Super Bowl, and him his 7th. Now there's reports that he was, gonna switch to number 7 because somebody else had the number 12. People asked him, why are you changing your number to 7? And he basically said, well, I'm going after my 7th Super Bowl. Um which is understandable. He was, and we talked about it earlier. Um, that he did win. It was the seventh. I mean, when Bill Belichick came to New England, Tom Brady basically came with him. And when he didn't have Brady, when you substitute like Castle, Garoppolo, Brissett, whoever was Brady's backup, um, he struggled. He struggled not having Tom Brady. Now you don't have him long term because he's with another team. Um, but yeah, he's on the hot seat. Do you guys think he's on the hot seat? Because I feel like he is. Last year he had Cam Newton. Granted, Cam had COVID, and when he returned, um, he wasn't the same. And they say when you return from having COVID-19, it kind of alters, um, everything about you. Um, and I could see that happening. Um, even okay, I'm looking at Bill Belichick, and it says Robert Kraft, ridiculous. Robert Kraft's ridiculous Bill Belichick criticism sets off ESPN and analyst Jeff Saturday. Uh, and they're basically talking about the NFL draft. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those years he was a head coach in Cleveland, and at that time, he didn't have Tom Brady. He was with Cleveland at the time from 91 to 95, and then he went to um, New England after in 2000 after being away 5 years, 4 or 5 years of being a head coach. So, okay, 91, he went 6-10. 92, 7-9. 93, he went 7-9. 94, he had a good season, a better season, 11-5. He was second in the AFC Central, or you can say the North. Uh, Made to the divisional round, lost to the Steelers. Um, then he fell off the bandwagon in 95, 5-11. But I believe that was only because after that year, Cleveland Browns folded, and he, or not he, but the team decided to relocate to Baltimore to become the Ravens. And then in 2000, the Cleveland Browns returned to the NFL. But during his 5 years in Cleveland, he went 36-44. Now let's look at New England. Okay, I understand 2000, it was 5-11, but he had a rookie quarterback in Tom Brady, who filled in for veteran Drew Bledsoe after he got his bell rung, so to speak, and was out for the remainder of that one. Um, Now, let's see here. If you want to take off what happened last year with uh, New England, they finished third last year. 244 and 92. That's a lot of wins just under the helm with Tom Brady. Let's see here. He was 30 and 11 in the playoffs, Super Bowl included. So in during his time with the Patriots, when Brady was there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 out of 18 years he was with, or he made the playoffs. Bill Belichick made the playoffs 17 out of 18 years, finished first in all of those in the NFC East, except for 2008 when he had Matt Castle take over week 1 of that season. And then last year, they went 7-9 and missed the playoffs when they had Cam Newton. So in those 2 seasons, when they had to ride with another quarterback throughout the season, they missed the playoffs. Do you think that uh, having Brady as your quarterback, I think having Brady as the quarterback with Belichick made Belichick who he is as far as a coach? He was great. Yes, he was. Not having Brady kind of hurt him last year. And it showed. I mean, right off the bat, Tom Brady went to a dominant team and won. Now they have all their starters back. None of them left. So, Belichick, in my opinion, is on that hot seat. Do you agree? I mean, message me at Chris_Mabry93 on Twitter. So, with that, I am Chris Mabry. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Diehard Football Podcast here on the All Sports All Plays Network. Join me next week, 3 p.m. Central Time, where we discuss all things professional football, including NFL and any other leagues going on in the world of professional football. With that, Chris Mabry, I will see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your day and have a great week. I will see you guys then.